Hello everyone, welcome to AT Tech Talk. My name is Narala Siddhartha. My roll number is 20951 My branch is Computer Science Engineering with Data Science as specialization. So my subject is Foundations of Machine Learning. Today I am going to discuss about a new semi-supervised support vector machine learning algorithm based on active learning. So let's start. So I mainly divided the content into three sections. In the first part, I'm going to give an introduction and basic idea of the topic that we are going to discuss, and in the second part, I'm going to explain some of the related works. In the third part, I'm going to discuss the algorithm in depth. So let's start the session. So introduction. Semi-supervised support vector machine is an extension of standard support vector machine in machine learning problem in real life. However, the existing supervised vector machine algorithm has some drawbacks with slower training speed and lower accuracy, etc. This PPT presents a semi-supervised support vector machine learning algorithm based on active learning, which trains early learner by a spot of labeled data, selects the best training samples for training and learning by active learning, and reduces learning cost by deleting non-support vector. Simulative experiments have shown that the algorithm may get good learning effect at less learning cost. Currently, support vector machine (SVM) is a very popular research direction in machine learning, which is an effective learning machine that has been confirmed in experiments and has successful application in many areas. However, the traditional SVM is mainly used to deal with supervised learning problems, namely which needs to mark sample data to train classifiers, while the large amount of data in real life which is unmarked and it is time consuming for marking the data. This contributed to the study of a machine learning into a new phase, semi-supervised learning, which has been combined with marked and unmarked data is becoming the new hotspot. The broad application prospect, which has been led to by supervised, semi-supervised learning in the field of pattern recognition and artificial intelligence systems is the main reason for such research heats up. This PPT attempts to research the characteristics of support vector machine and explores a way for improving the performance of classifiers, which is a practical approach for classifying used a small number of labeled samples and a large number of unlabeled samples. The PPT is organized as follows. Section 2 describes the related work, and it includes the mathematical model of SVM, the concept of semi-supervised learning and typical algorithms, and the concept and significance of the learning active learning. The semi-supervised support vector machine (SVM) for the status queue, the new algorithm features and implementation steps is discussed in section 3. The experimental results of analysis of the algorithm are shown in section 3 only, and all the conclusions are also discussed at the last. So let's discuss and get an explanation about the related work. SVM support vector machine is a kind of method that nonlinear problem in low dimensional space is mapped to a high dimensional space so that a space linear and simple linear classification techniques can be dealt with is suitable for small sample learning. SVM can effectively overcome the traditional method of overfitting problems and neural network learning problems commonly seen in local minimum, so it has strong generalization ability. SVM can ensure that the nonlinear problem mapped to high dimensional space does not increase the computational complexity and also effectively overcomes the curse of dimensionality by introducing the kernel function and the associated dot product operation. So SVM can be assumed up for solving the quadratic programming problem. For a given label training data as shown below, consider the general nonlinear situation. We define it as follows. The relaxation variable and then the mathematical expression for this problem is shown below, which you can see. So the model of support vector machine has been provided that which is a powerful analytical tool for solving a variety of pattern recognition, function simulation, and also forecasting models. However, support vector machine can only be used in analysis of issues for marked sample data, while there are large amount of data are unmarked in real life. So that the scope of application of support vector machine has been limited. At present, an effective way to solve this problem is to use semi-supervised learning machine learning algorithms. So basically, the support vector machine is mainly used on the supervised data. So the supervised data generally consists of the data with labels marked on each attribute. So here in real life, it's not going to work properly because the data which is produced in real life is always with respect to the unlabeled and unmarked data. So it is an unsupervised learning, so it comes under the unsupervised learning. But here SVM, the traditional support vector machine algorithm, is not able to work on such data. So in order to deal with this unsupervised learning, so we have introduced a new concept which I are going to discuss in this slide. So, description of SVM. Semi-supervised learning is an integrated way of learning which uses a small amount of labeled data to obtain an initial classifier and then uses a large number of unlabeled data to further improve the performance of the initial classifier to eventually achieve the precision of learning. Although it is a new field of research but also has obtained some initial results. The typical semi-supervised learning method which will be used in SVM is transductive support vector machine, TSVM, which we are going to call it as. So the principle of TSVM algorithm can be expressed as given a group of independent and identical distributed labeled data sets. So let's discuss about the active learning. So active learning is a training process of a machine learning method which dynamically selects samples from the candidates according to a strategy when training. We know from the previous section that the unlabeled training samples are used in TSVM, but we cannot draw the conclusions that more samples are used for training and then the learning performance will certainly be better. Actually, the unlabeled samples for the semi-supervised learning methods used in practical applications may come from different environments. The sample characteristics of distribution is complex and unknown, would most likely has the noise. Active learning can make use of existing knowledge and take the initiative to select the most likely to solve the problem of the sample, effectively reduce the number of samples required for assessment. So let's discuss about the semi-supervised support vector machine learning algorithm, which is the new embedings and updation of the traditional SVM. So well have come across semi-supervised learning as a type of machine learning problem, but it is a concept not understood really well. It's better to understand this by getting our hands dirty, and precisely that's what we are bringing on. The use case is simple. We have some data that may be 100 observations, and out of that 30 are labeled, so that is supervised, and the rest are unlabeled, that is unsupervised. And we are working on a classification problem. So here we have a data, right? So the data is consisting of both supervised and unsupervised data, means it is consisting of the labeled as well as unlabeled data. So we commonly call it as an semi-supervised data. So we use a semi-supervised machine learning algorithm in order to bring conclusions from this data. So we are working on a classification problem actually. So I think all of you will agree that the performance that can be achieved by training across 30 cases or observations will be lesser if we could have used all 100. Unfortunately, 70 of them are unlabeled. So this is a graph which shows the uh, data type of data that we are taking as an example. So the rhombus shaped gray color data points represent the unlabeled data, while others are labeled data with two classes. Essentially, it is a binary classification problem. The two classes are indicated by the blue triangle and the red circles. The gray diamonds indicate unlabeled data. Our first strategy is to build a classifier on the labeled data. Use this to predict the unlabeled data. However, apart from the prediction, you also check your confidence level. Add those observations to the training data on which you are moderately confident. These are called as pseudo labeled as contrasted to labeled data. Use this augmented data set now for training and use this model. As we are using the unsupervised data to augment the training data for supervised learning, this comes somewhere in between and hence the name supervised, as I have said before. So thank you.